Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Well, we're into the new year, my friends. No more Christmas garage. This is one of the first few, anyway, videos I've made this new year that weren't left over from last year. And off we go. You can see I have found myself on Mountain Pass. So this video, we're going to talk about get back to kind of analyzing the match, deciding where to go, how to react to it. But while I was going through this video and thinking about what we wanted to talk about here, it struck me, what I should add into these is maybe start to bring in some of the information on the maps themselves, because there is a difference in spawns a lot of times. Not as bad on the standard mode, but it is pretty bad on Assault and Defense. We've talked about that a little bit on Coffee Talk, and you've got a few bad ones on Encounter as well. But I recalled that Mountain Pass was particularly egregious in terms of being out of balance. So we'll bring that up. We'll take a look at Mountain Pass, and my goodness gracious. So North Spawn, which thankfully I am not on, 42.19% win rate. South Spawn, 56.5. Wow. This map was recently changed. And while I applaud Wargaming on attempting to make a change on a map that was pretty static and actually already had issues, holy cow, they missed. They whiffed on that one, right? Now, they've done a good job in the past on switching things up, changing maps when they get around to it. I really wish their iterative process was faster. But this kind of number here is kind of an emergency, bringing into account the fact that it's just a video game, fellas, right? But in terms of like your game and the meta, your maps, the fairness of it all, this one's pretty obvious. I'm really kind of flabbergasted that this is still in rotation. I think if you saw numbers like that and you were really trying to take care of your game and make sure that everything was as close to even fair as you wanted to, you'd look at that and go, wow, we really missed that one, right? No harm, no foul. You gave it a shot. It didn't work out. You got players that are going to decide. You got a meta that might change around a little bit. There's a lot of pieces and moving parts in here, and so it's not throwing grenades at the guys that tried to do it, but they blew it, right? In this case, there were a lot of other maps changed that were made a bit better, right? Some a little worse, some a little better, but it wasn't the disaster that this map is. This map's a disaster. This is a dumpster fire. It's bad, fellas, and it needs to be removed from rotation, not removed from the game until you guys give it another shot, because holy cow. Are you kidding me? 14% difference. The guys in the north are completely gibbed. Never mind the matchmaker of the tanks, never mind the skill level of the players, never mind, whatever's going through everyone's head at the time, yada yada. You try to make it as fair as possible, but sometimes those get skewed a little bit. Now, I have had people, we're just going to get started here with the game. I have had people come back to me and say, yeah, well, you have an even chance of getting spawned into the north as you do the south, so over time it will work out. Yes, from a purely mathematical, common sense standpoint, that makes sense, and I understand exactly what you're talking about. From a game design and attempting to maintain the health of your game, that's not good at all. It's a terrible answer. It's maybe a short-term answer, but overall it's terrible, because if that's true, then who cares about any of the maps? They can all be completely out of skew, and you know what? At some point you'll get the good map, so quit crying. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. I understand. It's a good valid point in the short term. In the long term, for the health of the game, it's idiotic. And I'm sorry if that insults anyone whose idea that is. Again, I'm going to beat this dead horse just a little more. I understand. I get where you're coming from on that. It is true. But in terms of the entire ecosystem, as they say, of the game, that's not it. That's not the right answer, I guess. All right. So let's talk a bit, now that we've babbled about the map itself. At this point in this match, I couldn't remember which one had the advantage. I suspected it was us, and that's kind of one of the reasons I went down to the south there. But you'll notice I'm a little light in help. You don't know when you start to move from the spawn immediately exactly where the enemy team's going to go, and that's why scouts and the guys up front giving you some SA is a good thing. And you can see that we have some now, and we're pretty well cookie cutter spread. I don't know where their heavies are. The thing about this game, this match in particular, is it's all tier 6, which is great for me. I do well in the Loza. Right now I'm about 62%, probably about 20 games left in my 100 Battle Challenge on this tank. So this is a great setup for me tier-wise, but there's a lot of heavies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the enemy team. You're going to see that we actually get quite a few here on this flank, which is pretty standard, so that's one thing you would bring into your calculations in your brain. Yeah, heavies tend to go here, but they also tend to go north now. That heavy brawl area up there is a little more wide open in terms of not wide open, but wide open in terms of more people go there now. There are several hold down spots, and it's really a punchy face situation up there in the north now, as opposed to the long range hold down snipe-a-lama ding dang that it used to be. I also know that this side has an advantage here, and I was suspecting that. I was pretty sure it was the south side that has the advantage. When I saw the KV-2 coming, I felt like, okay, we're not in great shape, but at least I've got the big, fearsome KV-2 gun, and if he does the right thing, that's good. I also noticed the Hellcat and the Staghound got around the corner, which is kind of one of the problems with the way this map is set up. You get some crossfire. See, these poor suckers here, they have a really hard time getting a crossfire on me. We have a pretty easy time getting a crossfire on them because we can get there just a little bit sooner. There are some more shots from the middle as well into that flattened out area right there. The Hellcat's going to have to be careful though, because he's about to get punched in the face or in the butt. I guess he's actually looking at the other Hellcat. So those were the things going through my mind. Also, I'm a medium. I have a relatively fast tank. You'll notice that I had turbo on it. So I am thinking, if I have to, if I get pressed, I will bail out of this. So KV-2's moving up. We have the Hellcat and the Staghound. And it looks like everybody's starting to get spotted. And then I see that. And then I see that. And I go, ooh, that's not good. The Cheeto, both Junus. This is not great right here. They're coming around the corner and they're going to start beating up on our Staghound and Hellcat. So I'm going to take this opportunity while they're busy looking at those guys to shoot this dude. Try to get another shot, and I'm going to get tracked. Now, this is an interesting thing here. I get hit twice. I finally fumble finger it around. Check out what I did, and this is a habit pattern from years and years and years ago, and this is why I'm always messing up and getting the HE round called in. And maybe I switch all my HE rounds to 2. That could be the answer. I don't know, and then I'm going to have a habit pattern of pressing 2 for gold rounds. You know what I'm saying? So what that does for me is nothing good, because you see that I've got an APCR called up, but my next round is going to be an HE round, and unfortunately I do not notice it. They back off. They didn't like that. I think they saw the KV-2. These guys were beating up on him. The other Junu pushed in. The other one's back out, and that was very good for me, because I was already thinking I'm going to have to run away here if all these heavies come at us. Going to zoom in here and hit the ground. And then screen not penetrate, because I'm shooting HE, by the way. I don't know that right now. You know, we all make mistakes, man. And looking at the replays, sometimes you can figure those out. Now I'm thinking they're pushing in. Holy crud, the HT's here too. So let's just shoot the wall. That was just a bad shot. I was trying to avoid the Cheeto getting a shot on me. There's an HE shell, which I, again, did not notice. Did not notice. The good news here is I only have one HE shell left. I'll just shoot it right into the ground. And good, that is all solved. This works out nicely for me. This guy just sort of drives up and allows me to get the perma-track action going on. Look at the tracks kind of sliding forward. That's kind of cool. We're able to keep him tracked. Somebody else is hitting him. He's just getting absolutely pummeled. Gets lit on fire. Auto fire extinguisher turns it off, and then I kill him. And at this point, fellas, pretty much won. You'll notice in the north, where this map from the south spawn has an advantage, they have won. I have been able to hold this. I did not even notice that my KV-2 bailed on me, and I don't really know why. There was a push in the middle that they sort of wiped out, but that was a while ago, so the KV-2 has run off. I think maybe he saw those heavies and went, nope, not staying here. Good news for me is that they really didn't push me hard. And, when you're assessing what's going on, make sure you're looking at the mini map and paying attention to the whole game, because about a minute ago when I saw how well we were winning, I just decided I was going to hang out here. I'll just get as many shots as I can right here. I don't really want to run away and let them sort of wrap around here and maybe get back into this fight. And I want to pin down whatever's here and get some hit points out of them. If I get pushed, I get pushed. It's one of those, calculations you'll just have to do on your own. But when I'm looking at the mini map right now, we basically have this thing won. Kind of looking for where they are. I wonder if the Cheeto's here, but I'm also thinking he may have run off. And yes, he has. There he goes. Cool. I know this dude's right here, so we'll just shoot one into him. Back out. Take another shot. He misses. I bounce. Really, once he shot, if I'd have noticed that in time, I probably should have just slowed down and taken a nice, easy shot. He gets my gun, but I'm still able to shoot the hatch right there. And I come out of that with no damage from him. Kill off the HT number 6. And the the Easy 8's coming to cover my flank. Thank you. And pretty uneven game, guys, right? It's 11-3. That's how this map is operating right now. It's one of the things to take into account if you know some of the numbers. I don't know why you would remember all of the maps potentially, but you got a map like Mountain Pass where there's no kidding a 14% difference in win-loss. Take a note of which side you spawn on, and that may inform a little bit what you're going to do with your deployment. I don't advocate just YOLOing or giving up or drowning or whatever, but I'll tell you what, if I did, this would be a situation where I would do it. Getting spawned into the north on this map with a 14% less chance overall to win. Right? It still has to do with skill. It still has to do with matchmakers. Still has to do with how the game is played by the players during the match. But from the get-go, based on map design, you are at a 14% disadvantage. In World of Tanks, that is massive. Absolutely massive. So, Wargaming, really, you've got to do something about this map. I would remove it from rotation. That's what I'm calling on you to do. Nobody cares. I know. I'm calling on you to remove it. Really, though, let's just be honest about it. It didn't work. It didn't pan out. We gave it our best shot. We tried to balance it. We did an honest effort. It just didn't work. So take it out of rotation, tweak it up a bit, bring it back, and off we go, and we'll see where it goes from there. I don't think anybody would be bothered by maps coming in and being a bit imbalanced and then having them removed while they tinkered with it a little bit. I don't know why that's such a big deal. I cannot wrap my mind around it, other than perhaps the way everything is set up and the leadership flow just doesn't support that. And I would buy that, to be honest. I've seen large organizations unable to turn corners such as this. But wow, it seems, I don't know why it's not, it seems easy to me that you just go, hey fellas, ladies and gents, we got some data off of Mountain Pass. We gave it a shot. We were making an honest effort to make it balanced. Clearly, we did not achieve our objectives. So in order to not screw over, you wouldn't use that term, but in order to keep things as fair as possible, we're going to remove Mountain Pass temporarily while we adjust some things. And it will be back as soon as we can get it back. Period. Done. Thank you for playing the game. It seems easy. Now, that aside, the whole map thing, when you're assessing and reading the match, make sure you bring in the mini map, pay attention to where the losses are, where the tanks are. Just because you went to a flank and started fighting there doesn't mean you have to stay. But sometimes, even when you're a little bit outnumbered, your presence there can help your team out a bit by keeping guys busy. Be careful, though. If all of those heavies had pushed together, we'd have lost wholesale in the south. You can start to get an idea of that, though. You notice they came around the corner. They met a slight bit of resistance, and they ran away. One of them pushed in and died. Cool. The other one ran away. Then they made another abortive kind of push that didn't really work out for them, and then they were done. Right? So that's what you see in randoms. That's what you see in World of Tanks with the random matches like that. A lot of times there isn't a lot of teamwork or thinking going on right there. Had they been any kind of organized in terms of several of the players thinking more or less the same thing, I'd have been in trouble. But it didn't look like that to me. Sometimes you guess wrong. Sometimes you say, well, it looks like they're not going to push, and then maybe a minute later, here they come. But that's part of this game. That's part of the randoms. And you just have to take your best guess on what's going on, try to pay attention to the rest of the map as much as possible, and then make your smartest reaction. And I think this one was pretty easy to see. It's always nice to do a video where you win, and hey, my thoughts worked out. I show videos where they don't work out, so there you go. But you want to try to get good enough at the reading that you're pushing the win rate past 50%, so that your decision making on those few that you have an actual input in, the standard, what we always talk about, 33% of the games, starts to push your win rate in your favor. That's what you're trying to do. All right, guys, have a great one. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate the support of the channel. If you like what you saw, give me a subscribe. We will see ya. Remove the map, please.